Welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a 7-5 loss on a Saturday night. We're going to get into everything in just a second here, all of the key moments of the game, the highlights. We'll get into some box score review, and of course, we'll preview the matchups for tomorrow and take a look around the AL West, see how the other teams in our division fared, and we'll also take a peek at the standings and let y'all know where the Rangers are at this point in the season in terms of the division, the wild card, all that good stuff. But first, here at Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Thank you for joining us tonight. Whether you're live, whether you're on the replay, we appreciate you. Let's go ahead and let's get into it. So first of all, Rangers had very, very terrible numbers coming into this game off of Seattle starter George Kirby. We didn't want to stir it up too much before the game. We always choose to keep things pretty positive here, right on Rangers. But the numbers were not promising. So going into today's game, George Kirby, I think in 5 or 6 starts, had never lost. I think he was 4-0. And had a sub 1.5 ERA against the Rangers in those 5 or 6 games. Not good. Rangers, for whatever reason, have just not hit George Kirby well, and it was very, very evident today. And George Kirby pitched phenomenally for the Mariners. Big reason why they ended up winning the game. Ultimately, the game gets away a little bit from the Rangers bullpen. Not shocking considering who they brought in. But George Kirby was dealing today for the Mariners. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 walks, so 5 base runners in 6 innings, 6 strikeouts. It was ugly for the Rangers bats early. In fact, the Rangers were no hit for, I believe, 3 or 4 innings. Were able to get a run across in the 5th. And then the big rally in the top of the 9th where the Rangers scored 4 came against Stanek. And actually, Bizzardo a little bit as well. Bizzardo, Stanek gave up a hit, which actually ended up charging another run to Bizzardo. So Rangers made it interesting late, but too little too late. When you don't score but 1 run for 8 innings, it's not usually going to go too well for you. So at this point, we're going to talk through inning by inning, how things went. We'll go through Nate Eovaldi's start, and we'll talk to you about how he did today. If the title of the video helps you out at all, it was an early exit for Nate Eovaldi. 3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 4 walks. I think that one is probably the biggest number for me. 4 walks for Nate Eovaldi. I think the Mariners were doing really a pretty nice job. I think the Mariners were doing a great job of laying off the pitches that Evo usually gets people to chase on. So Evo is really, really good at making a pitch look like a strike, and then it just ducks out of nowhere and is absolutely off the plate. Not a strike at all. But today, the Mariners, I thought, did have a pretty good eye up at the plate. So we saw Garver, I believe, take a walk today. Raleigh took a walk today. Rojas, the third baseman, walked 2 different times. So the Mariners were patient up there at the plate. They were not biting on any of Evo's stuff, and it did make a big difference in Evo's start today. When he's not getting guys to swing and miss on those pitches off the edge, it does make him have to work more, and he did tonight. 3 innings pitched, and Evo throws 75 pitches. That's averaging 25 pitches an inning. That's not going to lead to positive things most of the time. So Evo, of course, still kind of coming off of an injury, right? He was, I think he's 3 or 4 starts beyond the injured list. I mean, look, at some point you got to open him up, but I think at that moment in the game, I think Evo was coming off like a 38 pitch inning, and Bochy just decided it's time. And they go to the bullpen. And I thought Brock Burke did a phenomenal job, something I wasn't expecting. Brock Burke to come into the game and throw 2 2/3 with 4 strikeouts, throwing upper 90s heat. If Brock Burke can do that the rest of the season, That sure would be nice to have Latz and Burke, two lefties that have a good fastball in the back end of the bullpen. That would be huge. So good to see Brock Burke come in after Evo and shut things down, give them a chance. But after that, it just started getting really dicey really quick. Jonathan Hernandez gives up a home run, only one walk in an inning and a third pitched, but the home run is what allows the Mariners to extend their lead out to 5-1. Then in the bottom of the eighth, Jesus Tinoco comes on, and Tinoco has had moments, but this was not one of them. He gives up 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 walks in an inning pitched. And when you think about it, it's a big reason why the Rangers lost the game. And we said this all year long. The Rangers have lacked guys that can come in with a deficit. So the Rangers were down 5-1. They lack guys that can come in with a losing score and just keep the game close. So in this case, Tinoco, you come in with a 5-1 game and you got to be locked in and you got to keep the game within striking distance. Tinoco gives up the 2 runs. That was the difference in the ball game. Now, you never know how baseball works. You never know if Tinoco doesn't give up those runs. Does it go exactly the same in the 9th inning? Who knows? But the 2 runs that Tinoco gave up in the bottom of the 8th end up being the difference in this one. There's no way around it. So for me, Rangers got to go get bullpen depth at the trade deadline if they are still competitive at that moment in the season. So right now, Tinoco, by the way, 8.10 ERA. 8.10 ERA. That's not going to cut it. Jonathan Hernandez, 3.63 ERA. Did give up the homer today. It's unfortunate, but look, that's not 8.10. 3.63 I can live with. 8.10 ERA. And I know the Rangers are down in that spot, 4 runs, kind of mulling over who you want to throw, who you want to burn, considering that they still have a game against the Mariners tomorrow. But I still say you have got to be able to find better than Tinoco in these spots when you have a game within striking distance. Look, I know 4 runs going into the top of the 9th, or I should say 4 runs going into the bottom of the 8th. You're not necessarily thinking that it's a super winnable game at that point. It's tough to score 4 runs in an inning to come back and win a ball game. 5 runs if you want to include what the Rangers needed to win the game at that point. But they've got to find somebody that can take over in these games when the Rangers are losing, but the game's still relatively close. Now, again, we can debate whether this game was close or not at 5-1, considering what the Rangers offense had done. I don't blame Bochy for thinking to not use a top-end guy, but they've still got to have better than Tinoco with an 8.10 ERA. That's ridiculous. And Tinoco at this point, because I know some people in the past have kind of fought me on sample size, Tinoco at this point, he has pitched, I want to get the innings right here. He's pitched 10 innings and given up 9 runs. So he's had 9 games. I'm sorry. That's enough for me to make a final judgment. Don't know if the dude's ready. Against the Dodgers, he gave up a run. He occasionally will have a good outing where he goes scoreless, but it's usually sandwiched in between 2 bad outings. So for me, I got to have somebody else besides Tinoco that can come in and just keep the game close, give the offense a chance. They almost came back and won this game. The Mariners bullpen went ahead and let them right back in it. I really thought when Seager came up, at minimum, we were going to make it a 1-run ball game. If he would have hit a home run there, oh my goodness, that sure would have been fun. And honestly, he hit the ball pretty hard. If we go to the StatCast on the Corey Seager ground ball that ended the game, let's just see how good he actually squared that one up here. So again, Seags comes up, runners on first and third. I thought it was a little bit better than it was, about a 90-mile-an-hour exit velocity. Looked a little bit harder off the bat, but Seager still, I mean, look, put a pretty good jolt into that baseball. and it almost got past the first baseman there. Would have easily scored a run. I don't think it scores two. That ball was going to get fielded by the right fielder. I don't think it scores two, but it makes it an interesting game. It makes it 7-6 with Dolly coming up. Look, Dolly tonight, the box score for him, Dolly goes 1 for 3 with a walk, so was on base twice tonight. You'll take that from Dolly. It was better tonight from Dolly. I can't say the beginning of his night started out very well, but no Rangers were really hitting George Kirby that great. George Kirby just dominates the Rangers. Almost every time he pitches, it feels like this is what you're getting from George Kirby. 6-7, 1 run or less. George Kirby just has the Rangers number right now, unfortunately. I really feel like at this point, a couple of things worth talking about. First of all, Evo's going to have an off start every once in a while. Right? Evo is going to have an off start every once in a while. He's pitched really well of late. And I will say this. When Evo exited, it's a 3-1 ball game. And he was at 75 pitches. So I see a few comments here I'll get to. Natalie, what's up? So the only thing I'll say to that is, Evo was only at 75. I doubt that he wanted to come out of the game at that point. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if Evo did stay in the game, if he probably holds it down and keeps the game within striking distance through 5 or 6 innings. So I wouldn't say I don't fault the offense at all today. I mean, if the Rangers put up runs on the board early, who knows how that affects Evo and his start? You just never know how that would play out. It's tough with baseball. But I will say this. You've got a number of different things going on into that decision. Maybe Evo is still a little bit rusty. Maybe he's still fighting a little bit of soreness, fighting a little bit of that injury. Who knows? But he was only at 75 pitches. I feel like he probably could have still stayed in the game. For me tonight, it's about the offense getting going late. They did have some opportunities. So the Rangers were 4 for 12 with runners in scoring position. That's actually pretty good. Now, a lot of those hits came in the 9th inning, right? A lot of those hits came in the 9th inning. I think the Rangers were like 2 for 9 until the 9th inning. So the Rangers did have some opportunities that they missed out on, but the Rangers got to get going more than 1 run before the 9th inning. Has to happen. Josh Smith out again today. He did pinch hit again today, and what do you know? Ends up drawing a walk. I was really hopeful he was just going to bust that game wide open, but good for him being patient enough to take the walk. He was quickly subbed. Huff came on and pinch ran for him. But I will say, Josh Smith, hope we get him back tomorrow. It is evident when we don't have all of our guys, it is just not likely that it's going to be a big offensive day at the plate. When we don't have a Seager, or if we don't have Josh Smith, or if we don't have Simeon, it's just looking doubtful that we're going to put together a big offensive day. And in some ways that makes sense, but you'd like to be able to give these guys some off days here and there without stressing out about it. When I didn't see Josh Smith again today, I just thought to myself, this is going to be a tough day. And sure enough, it was. George Kirby already has great numbers against the Rangers offense. You don't have your best out there, it's not going to go great. I will say you can definitely, and I do agree with this comment, you can win games scoring 5 runs. You can definitely win games scoring 5 runs. What tonight goes back to is Tinoco Hernandez giving up 3 runs late. The Rangers lack guys that can come in with a deficit, meaning the Rangers are losing, and keep the game within striking distance. Hernandez, he definitely has elite stuff in terms of his slider. His fastball's live, but he's not consistent enough, and the home run today was hurtful. Made it a 4-run game versus a 3-run game. And then Tinoco, for me, I don't know why he continues to have a spot. I can't imagine when Scherzer comes back, when Bradford comes back, that Tinoco is going to be maintaining his position in the bullpen. I think he's probably the first one out. So we're not going to have to probably have Tinoco out there on the bump too many more outings at this point. 8.10 ERA through 9 or 10 games. I've seen enough. Go back to AAA, refine it. Maybe he gets another opportunity if we have some guys hurt, but I'm going to knock on wood right now. Hopefully that does not happen. My goodness. So I would say Tinoco, probably first one now. We're not going to be having to deal with him too much longer, but he is just not a guy that I want coming in when a game is even remotely close or there's even a sliver of a chance of winning. So look, I understand going into the bottom of the 8th, a 4-run Mariners lead. It doesn't feel like the Rangers are going to come back from that. This offense does not feel built to come back from a 4-run deficit. That being said, they put up 4 runs in the top of the 9th inning. It is possible. They have it in them. And when you're throwing guys out there that are not completely locked in, inconsistent, you're going to see that lead get extended. And that's what won the Mariners the game. The ability to tack on late. It's something that the Rangers need to get better at. It was nice to see them score runs late today. But what the Mariners did, score a run in the bottom of the 7th, score 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. The Rangers got to get better at doing that. We haven't seen that enough from this Rangers ball club. We have to get better, the Rangers do, at scoring runs late. Now, let's go through the rest of the box score. Marcus Semien, huge night at the plate. 3 for 4 with a walk. Semien was on base 4 different times. 4 different times. So we've got Semien setting the table well. Seager had a rough night. In fact, his on-base streak, which was like at 30 or 31, came to an end today. Corey Seager goes 0 for 5. That's hurtful. You feel like if Semien is doing 4 times on base in a given game and Seager's even giving you a 1 or 2 hits, you're probably winning a ball game. But Seager going 0 for 5 tonight hurt. We talked about Doley 1 for 3 with the walk. Nate Lowe was 1 for 4. Langford was 1 for 4. He beat out an infield single. Langford actually ended the no-hitter that George Kirby had going. Jankowski was 1 for 4. Grossman 1 for 4. Duran 1 for 4. Kisner, we got to talk about Kiz. I really am not a big fan. I know Jonah Heim's on paternity leave right now, but I'm just not a Kisner fan in general. Look, they did a big thing on Kisner. I think it was about a week ago on a national broadcast. Maybe it was last weekend. They did a big thing on Kisner when he was getting some time behind the plate on how much improved he is as a defensive catcher since he's been with the Rangers. For me, when I heard that, I wasn't like, oh, cool. I'm like, why did we go out and get a guy that was bad defensively? And maybe this is an anomaly for him offensively. I mean, I don't think he was a career 300 hitter or anything. So maybe this is a little bit of an anomaly for Andrew Kisner. But the bat has just been terrible. Kiz is 0 for 3, and he is hitting 127 on the season. And that's in 55 at-bats. Kisner is 7 for 55 on the year. Does have a home run. He is hitting 105 in his last 19 at-bats, 114 in his last 35. I really don't know why Kisner continues to get time. I would much rather them let Huff have some time behind the plate. We talked about Andrew Knapp right now, who's in the minor leagues. Andrew Knapp is a catcher as well with major league experience. He's on the AAA team. Andrew Knapp is hitting over 300 at AAA. You can't tell me that Andrew Kisner is that much better at this point than Huff or Knapp. I would be giving Kisner's opportunities to one of those guys. Sam Huff, I think he's a dude, kind of one of those quadruple A players that we've talked about on the show. He's too good for AAA, but he's just not ever killed it at the major league level. I still say they need to be giving Sam Huff some chances before Andrew Kisner gets another start. Let Huff play. Andrew Kisner's giving you 0 for 3. And look, watching him behind the plate tonight, I was not overly impressed with what Andrew Kisner brought to the table. I don't know who was. He had a couple of balls bouncing off the glove, going to the backstop. I don't care. You got to be a wall back there. And I know Jonah Heim, being the Gold Glove catcher that he is, there's high expectations. But I just do not understand why they continue to give time to Kisner when you've got Sam Huff, you've got Andrew Knapp down at AAA. And I really feel like somebody else needs to be getting those opportunities. Now, the rest of the box score, just one guy. Actually, that was it. Kisner hit 9 spot. Leote did get the day off. How about that? We talked about that on the live last night. Leote gets the day off. I said last night that it was well past time to give that guy a day. And I am glad that Bruce Bochy actually listened. Andrew Kisner hit 9 spot where Leote usually does. And we had some other guys playing. Grossman played. We had Jankowski taking over center field. I love Jankowski playing center field. If Evan Carter's not hurt, I love Jankowski playing center field. Have Jankowski play center. I'm not saying Leote needs to be benched the rest of the year. I wish they would do what I've always said they need to do with Leote. Last year, Leote hit over 300 against lefty starters. He hit 225, very, very mediocre average against right-handed starters. I would start Leote against lefties, and I would start Jankowski against righties. I don't know why that's so complicated. You don't have really any kind of drop-off defensively. In fact, I trust Jankowski much more than I trust Leote out there in center field. I would be platooning Leote at this point. We know that Leote can get hot, but the reality is back-to-back seasons now, we've had hot May, super cold June, July, August, and so on. So Leote can give you spurts where he looks like a pretty good ball player, but the valleys are incredibly low. At this point, I would like to see Leote start against lefties, and I would like to see Jankowski start against righties. I don't think that is like way complicated or some crazy idea. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider last year against lefty starters, Leote hit over 300 and he hit under 250 against right-handed starters. So glad to see Leote got a little mental day. I'm sure he'll be back in the lineup. I'm not saying he needs to be benched forever. I don't think the Rangers really have anybody that can definitively take his spot. But I will say this, I'd like to see a platoon. Now, we talked about the bullpen. We talked about Hernandez, Tinoco giving up 3 runs in 2 innings. It was the difference in the ballgame. They don't give up those 3 runs. The Rangers win 5-4. You need bullpen depth. They're going to get it when some guys come back healthy. But I will say it's hard to know in baseball. Would it have mattered if they wouldn't have given up those 3 runs? Would the Rangers even have mounted that comeback? It's not so easy. You know, it's hard. It's kind of the butterfly effect, right? Like you don't really know how one thing is going to affect another in baseball. I could imagine 1,000 different outcomes with the littlest of differences and changes in a ball game, in a baseball game specifically. So that's the box score. I don't think there's a whole lot else for us to chat through beyond. I did love that the Rangers today were moving on the base paths. We had 3 stolen bases today. Simeon, Garcia, Langford. It was good to see. I don't know why the Rangers didn't start stealing bases sooner, but it's something that the Rangers needed to do. Something that the Rangers needed to do a long time ago. The Rangers have 4 guys, right, that are actually in the top 15 fastest players in the MLB. In MLB, it's crazy. And they don't steal that much. They're like bottom of the league in steals. So you've got 4 guys that are among the top 15 fastest players in Major League Baseball, and you're not stealing. Make it make sense. I mean, make it make sense. So I am glad to see that the Rangers finally have decided to start mixing it up on the base paths, and we're active today with 3 stolen bases. Beyond that box score, Kisner had an error tonight, huh? Well, that just adds to my argument. I don't think the Rangers need to be giving Andrew Kisner any more time behind the plate. I think we've seen enough. I think Kisner needs to start ceding at bats and opportunities to Sam Huff or bring up Andrew Knapp from AAA hitting over 300. That would be my plan. Let me go to some comments now. I think this is the worst that Garcia. The question is this Garcia's worst slump right now? I mean, I would say yes. I know Garcia was 1 for 3 with the walk today, but if we look at Garcia's stat line over the last 15 games, he's hitting 148. Last 30 games, he's hitting 157. It has to be one of the worst runs in his career. I don't know. Maybe there's something worse back in 21, 22 when he was first coming up with the club. But I would say yes, this has to be one of Dolly's worst stretches in his major league career. I would love to see if there's been a worse time. I hope there hasn't been, but it's only up from here for Dolly. It's only up from here. It's crazy. He still has 40 RBI. Think about how many more RBI he could have if he was actually hitting the baseball. You would probably see him up around the 60, 65 RBI point at this time. I know that he has left a lot of guys in scoring position. It's unfortunate. Dolly hopefully will start turning things around tonight. Decent start, 1 for 3 with the walk. We'll see what happens with him. Okay, let's go ahead and let's take a look and let's see what AAA did tonight. Max Scherzer, by the way, was on the mound for Round Rock. Don't think he had a great start, if I'm not mistaken. So Max Scherzer trending towards returning to the Rangers starting rotation at the end of June. So tonight, Scherzer, his stat line, he goes 4 2/3, 4 hits, 2 walks. So 6 base runners in roughly 5 innings pitched. Not terrible. Did give up a home run, I believe. Yes, in the first inning, nobody on, nobody out. So leadoff home run. And after that kind of settled in, he did have 8 strikeouts. So I think overall, look, is it like the most amazing stat line you've ever seen in a rehab start? No. But I don't think it's discouraging. 8 strikeouts, I love to see that. And 6 base runners in about 5 innings pitched, not terrible. So Scherzer, I believe, still on track to come back at the end of June, assuming nothing worse happens in the rehab start, nothing's retweaked or anything like that. So hopefully Scherzer will continue to trend positively. One thing that I wanted to talk about too, did you guys see that Josh Young, I don't know if I read this correctly or not, but did I see that during batting practice, Josh Young got hit? So I'm looking at this article. Scary moment. We didn't talk about this yet on the show at all. Scary moment. Just a hiccup as Texas Rangers Josh Young continues rehabbing fractured wrist. He hit against live pitching, and he was hit on the left wrist. So I don't know if you guys heard about that, but Josh Young actually taking live BP was hit on his left wrist before going off to his rehab start. You just can't make this up. You really can't make this up. Apparently, it was just kind of just a glancing blow. It wasn't anything crazy. But I think that's why we haven't seen Josh Young play for the AAA squad yet. So he's gone to AAA. Did not see him in the lineup tonight. No Josh Young. Hopefully we see him tomorrow. We'll continue to do our Josh Young watch. AAA, Round Rock, play-in, the Rainiers, I believe. So hopefully Josh Young can come back, and we'll be going through his box scores, his performances. Hopefully he's ready to go. Maybe after the Mets series. I thought maybe he was actually going to be ready for the Mets series, which starts Monday. So Rangers will get on a flight back to Arlington after the game tomorrow, and they will host the New York Mets for, I believe, a 3-game set. So I thought maybe he was going to be back for the Mets series, but I don't think that's going to happen. I would say at this point, he's probably trending towards coming back for the following series, which I'm going to look up for you guys in a second here. So Mets series, I believe, is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then on Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, yes, we host the Mets. And then on Thursday, looks like we have an off day. So, oh yeah, if we've got an off day on Thursday, I can't imagine Josh Young's going to be back before then. On Friday night, we host Kansas City. big series coming up here. The Rangers really need to take advantage, hopefully win a ball game tomorrow, and then when they host the Mets, need to win some of those games. Need to win at least 2 out of 3. So after the Mets, day off on Thursday, Royals come to town. That's going to be a tough series. So the Rangers would be very well advised. Win tomorrow, sweep the Mets, because the Royals is going to be tough. That's going to be a tough 3-game set. We beat them 2 out of 3 up in KC earlier in the year when all was still fairly well. The Rangers have taken a little turn since then. You know the Royals are probably going to want to get back at them a little bit. So take advantage of the game tomorrow in your 3-game set with the Mets. By the way, I said the Mets still have a lot of good ball players. So I'm not taking them for granted or taking them lightly at all. I think that's going to be a tough series. I don't think the Mets pitching is outstanding, but they've got some good hitters on that squad. I definitely am not going into that Mets series thinking they're going to be pushovers. So that is the outlook. Let's start previewing the game for tomorrow, though. So tomorrow, Rangers are going to be throwing Dane Dunning, unless that's changed since yesterday. Dane Dunning was the starter as of last night, and he still is. And the Mariners are throwing Logan Gilbert. Gilbert is 3-4 with a 3.19 ERA on the season. And I believe against the Rangers this year, or against the Rangers in his career, I feel like Logan Gilbert's got some pretty good numbers. I'm going to see if I can look it up for y'all real quick. Logan Gilbert versus Rangers career. Let's see what we got here. So last 5 games. This is good. I'll take last 5 games. Let me see here. StatMuse always coming in clutch. Pretty good numbers. 3-2 with a 2.59 ERA in 11 appearances against the Rangers. And if you look at his last 3 starts, 5 2/3, 2 runs, 6 innings pitched, 2 runs, 6 2/3, 0 runs. So basically 18 innings pitched, 4 earned runs allowed his last 3 games. So not the stats that you want to see going into the game tomorrow. Logan Gilbert has pitched quite well against the Rangers in his career. But let's go to the preview and let's see if we can get some numbers here for how the Rangers have done specifically, individually, I should say, against Gilbert in their careers. So we've got Duran 1 for 5. Adolis Garcia 2 home runs off Gilbert in his career, hitting .214 and 28 at bats. We've got Nate Lowe 10 for 30. Seager 6 for 8. 6 for 18, excuse me. 6 for 8 would be outstanding. Seager 6 for 18, 333 lifetime average. Marcus Semien 26 at bats, hitting .077. That's not good. Josh Smith is 2 for 9. And Leote is 1 for 10 with a home run. Not great stats. You pretty much got Nate Lowe, Corey Seager, and a whole lot of bad after that. So Logan Gilbert's going to be a tough matchup for the Rangers tomorrow. I hope that the Rangers can salvage a game in the series. Not a promising start. Hopefully everybody's at full strength tomorrow. Josh Smith will be back in the lineup. That would be nice. And then we can get on a good flight back to Arlington and take 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 against the Mets. That's the plan. Now on the other side, Dane Dunning. Crawford is 7 for 21 off Dunning. We've got Julio Rodriguez, 2 homers off Dunning, but only a 2.11 average. 2 homers are a little concerning. Zavala, the catcher, 1 for 3 with the home run. Cal Raleigh, 3 homers against Dunning, 6 for 18. So there's a few guys to look out for. Crawford is one of them. Raleigh is another one. And I would say, of course, J-Rod, 2 bombs off Dunning, only a 2.11 average, but nevertheless. So we'll see what happens, y'all. See if the Rangers can salvage one game in this series. Oh, my goodness. After the high coming off that Dodgers series, I really expected better for this weekend series with the Mariners. Seattle is kind of becoming a house of horrors for us. That's kind of what Oakland was for a long time. that Coliseum was kind of a house of horrors for years for the Rangers. I kind of feel like it's shifting towards T-Mobile Park in Seattle. The Rangers just do not appear to play very well at T-Mobile Park. Going back to last year, the last weekend series of the season before the Rangers went to Tampa Bay, we all remember how that one went. Yes, they clinched playoffs, but they lost 3 out of 4. The Astros did lose today, so that is promising. The Astros are better. Not according to the standings. Not according to the standings, my friend. The Astros are, in fact, not better than the Rangers this year. And they lost today, 13-5 to the Tigers at home. Ouch. So that's nice. Always a good day when the Astros lose. Would have been even better with the Rangers win, but any day the Astros lose is a good day, let's be honest. Angels beat the Giants in San Francisco 4-3. The A's were postponed today in Minnesota because of rain. That makeup game is going to be played tomorrow in the doubleheader, so A's will have 2 games tomorrow. Let's go to the standings, check it out, and then we are going to be wrapping things up for the day, y'all. So in the AL West, we have the Rangers down 7.5 games. Astros 9 games back. We've got Angels 12.5 and A's 15.5 back in the division. Mariners have won 7 of their last 10. Everybody else pretty rough in terms of their last 10 ball games. Angels are 6-4 in their last 10. Astros 5-5, Rangers 4-6, A's 2-8. Longest losing streak in the major leagues. A's have lost 7 in a row. So it's starting to get ugly for the A's at this point. But we'll see what the wild card standings look like too. Rangers currently are 5 games back in the wild card. So you're 5 games out of a playoff spot right now if you're the Rangers, 7.5 out of first place in the division. So with what? Let's see, do fast math. With 92 games left, I'm not too worried about the Rangers only out 5 games of a playoff spot with reinforcements on the way. 92 games left, only 5 games out of a playoff spot. We're glass half full here at Right On Rangers. You know this. So it's going to be all right. The Rangers have got to tread water, keep treading water until Josh Young, Scherzer, all these guys get back. It's going to get better. Rangers cannot be this bad offensively all season. I just refuse to believe it. I think the Rangers at some point break out. Evan Carter probably coming back in July sometime. Hopefully the time off has worked wonders for him. I sure hope so. I think there's a lot of reasons, though, to think that the Rangers have a very strong second half. It's always and was always going to be a tough series against Seattle this weekend in Seattle. So let's go back home after a win tomorrow, beat up on the Mets, and then have a good competitive series with the Royals next weekend. That's the plan. All right, y'all. Let's see. Mavs don't play till Monday. Tomorrow's a day game. Father's Day tomorrow. We'll have to see. We may take Father's Day off tomorrow. Don't know. Don't know what the schedule is going to be like. May be able to hop on after the game. Maybe not. Maybe I'll try and hop on while my little guy's taking a nap, something like that. I don't know. I'll maybe try and squeeze it in. But we'll see. To be determined on tomorrow's Right On Rangers Live. Hopefully we'll get it in at some point. But we will see. All right? All right, guys. We're taking off for the day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Want to ask real quick, if you're not following or if you haven't subscribed yet and you're watching live right now, if you could hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, join us in this journey on the Rangers season. Of course, we're doing our challenge, betting 1 cent on Texas Rangers money line for every follower. It's taken a little dip after these last 2 losses, but we're in it for the long haul. It's going to be all right. Rangers are going to get on a winning streak, and we are going to be loving every minute of it. I'm still waiting for it, but I believe it. We're going to see a 7-8 game winning streak, and things are going to be going real well for that challenge. And hey, if you would be so kind, if you know somebody that loves the Rangers or just loves baseball in general, send them this video or send them my account, send them my channel, and have them join too. That would be the biggest help to me, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate you so much. Hey, let's keep growing this community. Good people talking baseball, talking Rangers baseball. That's why I started this channel. So I appreciate y'all very, very much. Oh, shoot. Almost forgot. Let's look at the news around MLB real quick, see if we can find anything interesting on the front page. So Yamamoto for the Dodgers exits after 2 innings with triceps tightness. That's unfortunate for baseball. As much as the Dodgers are just a spoil of riches, I don't like to see big names in the game go down with injuries. It's not good for the game. I want guys fully healthy. It's just more fun that way. Hopefully, nothing serious with Yamamoto. Red Sox beat the Yankees. That's a shocker. Shota just keeps on rolling for the Cubs, man. He is dominating MLB right now. We're talking about the Cubs pitcher. Shota dominated the Cardinals today. Good for him. And beyond that, anything else here? We're scrolling. Braves continue much needed power surge with 4 home runs. Wouldn't that be nice? Rangers hitting 4 bombs in a game. I sure would like to see that. Braves did it today. Can we get that for the Rangers game? 4 home runs in one game. Come on now. All right, Joe. I think it's time for us to go. As we always say, God bless. Go Rangers. Hope y'all have a great rest of your Saturday night. Happy Father's Day tomorrow to all the dads out there. And enjoy time with your dad, or give him a call if you're not close by. Enjoy that time that you got. Absolutely. We're going to, and we hope to see y'all either tomorrow after the game or maybe on the replay at some point. For sure, Monday we'll be back. Maybe try and squeeze in right on Rangers Live tomorrow at some point in the afternoon after the game. All right,